My friend, who I believe was my bestie, snatched my husband from me. So she would call my husband and say she was just passing by and cook his favorite meal for him. That one too would ask the security to allow her in. It was from bringing food to the office that he started sleeping with her in his office. Hey. Hello, you're welcome to Life Stories with Bussy. It's another weekend and I'm glad that you're here with me. If you're in Nigeria, how has your week been? Amazing, right? Welcome to the new dispensation. I've had a lot of people say, hey, renewed shaggy, like, it's going to be tough and all, but, for me, I always believe that whoever is in power, whoever is ruling, I always believe that I will flourish in the land and I will make it in this land. So I just want you to have a positive attitude. Whether or not you like the person in power, it doesn't really matter. Just have a positive attitude and just believe that everything will work for your good. So today I have a story and I want to go straight into that story because it's a long story. It's also another rejoinder. Somebody also decided to share a story based on a story that we were told before. And so I'll go straight to the story. So she goes, hello Bussy. She says, thanks for your program. She said, it teaches us so much about the people and the world that we live in. I watched a video of yours where you said when people are vulnerable with people they shouldn't be vulnerable with, they end up taking advantage of them. I didn't believe people can be just until it happened to me. Trust me, there are plenty of women on that table, destroying homes. The only thing, however, is that the eyes of the just person opens eventually. My friend, who I believe was my bestie, snatched my husband from me. She goes, so the story starts and she says, so I met Koko in my children's school. She seemed like a very nice person. She was very cheerful. She was friends with most parents, She approached me, said nice things about my children, and from there we became friends. Our children were in the same class and she came to visit once with her children. I figured that she suspected that we were very comfortable from the various cars that we use, but she didn't know how comfortable we were until she visited. Immediately after that visit, she became a leech. That's when she told me that she was a single parent, told me her husband abandoned her and traveled to Germany and never looked back, and that she's been struggling to pay her children's school fees. Immediately, I thought of helping her. The school fees of our two children ran into about $1 million plus. I went to my husband and he said if the person couldn't afford the school fees, she should just change the children's school. I was really pleased with my husband for saying that. I felt that it was being wicked. I was like, how can we have so much money at our disposal and we couldn't even help? He told me he wasn't going to be responsible for someone that he didn't know, blah, blah, blah. Now, with the power of hindsight, that's when I should have told her that we didn't have the money. It was later that I realized that bringing our children to that school was a strategy. Said, anyway, I got the money from my savings and paid our children's school fees. She sighed. I didn't know I was setting myself up. She was so happy. She came to the house to visit and say thank you. So she would call me regularly. We would gist. We would sit down together at school events, just generally we're friends and all. Then I got pregnant and the first 2 months I was always so sick. So I mentioned it to Koko and she told me that I didn't have to come pick the children every day, that she could help me drop them at home since it was on our way home. I was glad for the offer. I had 2 girls then, and though I had a driver, I couldn't fully leave my girls in the hands of the driver with the stories that we've heard around. So it was a welcome development for me. So sometimes I drop the children when I feel strong, and sometimes my husband would drop them. Koko called me every afternoon on our way to school that I shouldn't bother if I didn't have the strength to, that I shouldn't bother coming to the school if I did not have the strength to. I actually thank God for bringing her to my life. When she dropped the children, we chat for some time. The children would play around and it graduated to our children coming for sleepover. One day I told her that she'd help me pick the children, that I had a party and that my husband wasn't in town. She mentioned jokingly that I was really having fun, that she hadn't been to a party in a long time. Now, I love parties. And even if I'm dying, I will get up and go for parties. So I promised her that she would tag along with me for some parties. True to my words, I told her about the next party that I had, and that's how she followed me and became my regular companion to parties. Sometimes I have to give her clothes to wear, jewelry, and even up to wigs. I dashed her some of these things. I had a lot of them, and there was money to buy more. I'm sure most people would think I was stupid. I grew up in a very bubbly neighborhood in Lagos. We're very accommodating. We loved and were very loyal to ourselves. So some of those parties we went for were parties of my childhood friends. It was that heart I had and accepted Koko. I introduced her to my clique of friends. There was a friend of mine, Shade, who saw through her and told me to be careful with Koko. But I told Shade that there was nothing to be worried about. That was how Koko became my friend, though. We started talking about deep things. I confided in her about how my mother-in-law didn't like me and didn't want me to marry my husband because we're from different tribes. Incidentally, Koko was from the same tribe as my husband. I was later to learn that she was from the next village to my mother-in-law's own. In the course of discussion, she talked about her ex-husband. So I also told her about how my husband cheated on me with his PA. How I lost my mind, how I almost moved out, and it was some of these my childhood friends that I confided in that helped me through that period. 2 guys especially, and she already knew who they were from the parties that we attended together. I didn't know I was harming her with information to harm me. Fast forward to some months after, I had to travel to the US to have my baby. I told her and she said that she was available to help with the girls in any way she could. I told her that mother-in-law would be around though, and that the driver would bring my mother-in-law to pick the children in school and all that. So sometime she would inform me that my mother-in-law showed up late to come and pick the children. So she decided that she would carry the children home. So all of a sudden one day she called me and she said that my mother-in-law told her some awful things about me. And I was really, really mad with my mother-in-law. I started beefing her seriously. What I didn't know was that when she dropped the children, she would go in and gist with my mother-in-law, who was happy to have someone from the next village to hers to gist with. Hey, now, she started going there more often. She started helping my mother-in-law to cook. She would wait for my husband to come back from work, and then she would invite herself for dinner. So she would stay over for dinner. Hey, we had a WhatsApp group for my children's class, and she was there. She took my husband's number from there because I had stated on that WhatsApp group that I wouldn't be in town and told them to add my husband's number. So that was where she picked the husband's number from. So she had my husband's number. So she would call my husband and say she was just passing by and cook his favorite meal for him. That one too would ask the security to allow her in. It was from bringing food to the office that he started sleeping with her in his office. Then she started feeding my husband with lies. That when I told her that I knew my husband cheated with his PA, I confided in her that I was also cheating with my childhood friend. Now, the childhood friend that she mentioned was one of the guys in our neighborhood, then quite older than most of us, and we used to see him as a man of wisdom. So I did confide in him during that period. He and his wife cancelled me. The guy was staying in Nigeria, but because I had to clear my head, I traveled at that time and I was in their house a couple of times. And Koko also said that since she used to follow me to the parties, she knew that I was dating 2 other guys. That she even used to see us doing things in the car. Now, my husband knows all these guys because I didn't hide them from him. So he knows them, he knew that we grew up together, and he knew that I used to go for their parties. I noticed that my husband's attitude changed anytime I called him on the phone. He was always snappy. Then he came to the US when I had the baby and he was asking for DNA. That was my first shocker. I didn't know where that was coming from. I also noticed that he was always hiding to speak to someone. I had the DNA and the result came out, and of course the baby was his because I wasn't cheating on him. Something was happening, but I couldn't put my fingers to it. So one day, while he was asleep, I checked his phone and I saw loads of chat with him, and someone is saved as KO. It wasn't a number that I knew. I probed further. I saw that the person was sending him nudes. I didn't catch the face initially. I probed further. I checked. I kept on checking until I saw a picture. My head flew away at that instant. I almost had a heart attack. Hey. I called the number with my husband's line, and it was her voice. Of course, it was her voice. Thinking that it was my husband on the line, he started calling my husband babe. I shouted her name. It was that noise that woke up my husband. He collected the phone from me and he started shouting and asking where I was going through his phone. I couldn't talk. I called her later and I was like, Koko, you are sleeping with my husband. Guess what she said? We should guess what Koko said. Guess what she said? You think you are the only one who deserves a good life. There's love in sharing. I don't want to marry him. I just want a bit of what you enjoy. Let me read that again. I need to read that again. This is what Koko said. You think you are the only one who deserves a good life. There is love in sharing. I don't want to marry him. I just want a bit of what you enjoy. It was the audacity for me. Someone I fed, gave my money, my clothes, my wigs, my jewelry. Got back to Nigeria with my baby. I didn't say anything to them. My husband, Koko, my mother-in-law, I didn't say anything to them. I had made up my mind, I'd made my plans. One day, without them suspecting, I took my girls and I went back to US. First, my husband threatened. Then he blocked my cards. But luckily, I had stacked some good money away. For the next 4 years, I didn't even bother about him. I didn't tell him where we are. He didn't know our whereabouts. He just knew that we were in the US. Well, that Koko moved in and she was driving my cars and his cars. I saw pictures of them together. My husband looking very haggard, but dead. I was a seriously wounded woman. All the love I had for him was gone. Then one day, I heard that she took off with her children and a lot of valuable items. My husband has been begging me for 2 years now. They've called family meetings upon family meetings, but I cannot be in that marriage again. He comes to see his children. Shade, my friend, said he saw Koko at a party with a politician. I wish her all the best. It was later another parent told me that Koko bringing her children to that school was all part of the strategy. She wanted to be seen to be in the big league, befriend men and women alike, and she had tried it with 1 or 2 couples, and I was the gullible one. Hi! Some women are trying strategy on this matter. One of the things that I think I've learned in this my almost half a century years on planet Earth is that there are good people and there are bad people. There are good people, very good people, and there are people who are evil. This person reminds me of me until I learned in a very hard way. One of the things that we should learn is that people are not the way you are. You could have a good heart. The next person doesn't have the kind of heart that you have. We should know that and we should learn that. I don't call everybody friend. Not everybody is my friend. And I think that this has helped me so far. I need you people to know that not everybody is your friend. So what I do, I have what I call relationship segmentation. That relationship segmentation, in my mind or in my head or in my heart, I put everybody in a box. I have boxes where I put everybody. So if you are family, you are in the family box. If you decide that as a family you don't want to really be a family, that you want to be a very funny fun family member, I'll take you out from that family box and throw you in the miscellaneous box. That's me. I put everybody in the box that they belong to. If you are my classmate, you are my classmate. You are not definitely, you don't have to be my friend. If you are my classmate, you are my classmate. If I know you in church, I know you in church. You are a church member. If I meet you in my children's school, you're a parent in my children's school. I don't assume that because we all laugh and we're all chummy, I don't assume that we are friends. So everybody is in the box. Now, when you prove yourself that you are loyal and that you have my back and that you can be trusted, then I can take you and put you in my friend box. The truth is that my friend box, I have like just 3 or 4 people there. I love people. Don't get me wrong. I love people. But I do not believe that everybody is my friend. And that doesn't mean that I will not treat you good. I will treat you very well, with respect. I will treat you nicely. If I need to help you, I will help you from afar. But you can never know anything about me. If you are in that my friend box and you decide that you want to be wonderful, I will demote you and throw you in a miscellaneous box or some box, or take you back into the box of where we met. So if you're an acquaintance, you are my acquaintance. If you are my colleague in the office, you're my colleague in the office. If you are a church member, you're a church member. If you are my classmate, you're my church classmate. If you are family, I put you inside the box. If you want to behave that you are not family, I will throw you out. That's it. I'll block family members. That's how I see people. I do not even want negative vibes. And I do not want to be disappointed. I do not want to be out to anything. So I already treat everybody the way that they have. So if you're my classmate and you do something, it doesn't bug me because I know you're my classmate, you're not my friend. If you're a friend and then you become funny, it meant that I misjudge you, I'll throw you back in the miscellaneous box. That's how I segment people and relationships in my life. And it has worked for me. I am very nice to people. I love people. I love to be good to people. Even Jesus says that he knew the heart of man and he need not open himself to every man. So Jesus had, those 70 disciples that he sent out to evangelize. Then he had the 12 disciples who were always with him. Then out of that 12, he had 3. Out of that 3, he had 1. Yes. My friendship box has just 3 or 4 people. I do not consider that everybody is my friend. I believe in the quality of friendship, not quantity. Quantity does not work for me. I believe in the quality of friendship. I believe that if you're my friend, I should be able to tell you about myself, tell you deep things about myself, and trust that you have my back. And I will do the same too. I will defend you with everything that I have. But I realize that not everybody does that. So because of that, like I said, there's a relationship segmentation. Everybody has where they belong to in my life. But I'll still be nice to everybody. I'm nice to people. Very, very nice to people. But that's it. This is really a sad one. What she's trying to do is try to just corroborate what I said about when you're vulnerable to people, they take advantage of you. So it's not everybody that you open yourself to. A lot of us are, we're just nice people. A lot of us grew up with a very beautiful heart. We love people. But I realized that it's not worth it. It's a really sad one. Thank you very much for sharing. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I really pray that you heal totally, and maybe one day you'll be able to forgive your husband or something, and you're strong, for your children and all that. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for writing in. I appreciate that you took the time out to do that. I really, really appreciate that. Guys, let's have this discussion in the comment section. What do you think about my relationship segmentation? Do you think that it's the right thing to do or not? Don't forget, subscribe, leave your comment, share our link on WhatsApp, and just tell everybody about Life Stories with Bussy. Till next time when I come your way again, my name remains Busola. Jelly David. Bye.